Afternoon and welcome to the BRR Legal Brief, looking at the major legal issues affecting Australian business. Today we're looking at the government's new draft Murray-Darling Basin Plan, which was released on Monday. And here to discuss the plan is the head of the water group at Allens Arthur Robinson, Andrew Mansour. Thanks for joining us today, Andrew.
Thank you, David.
And I would just like to start firstly for our viewers with a very brief, history of the Murray-Darling, the kind of area that it covers, obviously a very big area, and I guess stemming from that, the key stakeholders involved in this issue.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's a basin that covers all of the eastern seaboard, and from Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, and the Australian Capital Territory. So we're talking about a significant space in terms of Australia, but also a volume of water as well. Key stakeholders, the obvious ones are irrigators and farmers, but those concerned with environmental flows, and also the governments themselves, the state and federal government, have also key interests in the whole issue. Absolutely, there are a lot of issues. Can you, run through the key points outlined in the draft plan? Yeah, look, I suppose having a look at what the purpose of the plan is to do, it's to manage a scarce resource and try to allocate on a fair basis what can be used for consumptive use, water, and what should be left for the environment. So it's a tricky structure, and like managing any scarce resource, there are people that are going to be winners or losers depending on which way the resource is cut. So the basic tenor of the plan is to have an amount that's allocated for consumptive use, and that's touted to be at the moment just under 11,000 gigalitres per annum. And to achieve that, we've got to allocate something like 2,750 gigalitres per annum for environmental flows. To give you an idea of scale, Sydney Harbour is 560 gigalitres, so it's quite a mammoth task. Absolutely, yeah. Well, I guess you talked about reaction. What has been the reaction so far from the key stakeholders, and what is your view on all this? Well, people would have seen the press, particularly yesterday and again today, that the response hasn't been as positive as one would hope. But that said, I believe Mr Knowles had a difficult task at hand. So the reaction has been, to a large degree, negative, but it's because everyone was seeking more for their patch. So the farmers were arguing that it would result in loss of water for their farms and resulting jobs. Irrigators said the same. Environmentalists said that there should be more allocated to the environment, and the state and federal governments are still looking at the plan as to how they'll respond to it, in particular the federal opposition. Yeah. What's your view on it, Ty? As I said before, I think take any scarce resource and try to allocate it fairly. You're never going to get it exactly right. So I think it was the best approach that could be taken to a tough situation, and it's the beginning of this phase. It's not the plan's been issued. There's a little bit more work to be done to implement the plan. Well, in terms of that work that is yet to be done, talking mechanics from, a legal perspective, what are the mechanics of this draft plan going forward? Yeah. Well, if the plan is approved, each of the states will be responsible for implementing and developing their own state plans for the management of the water resource and environmental flows. So they'll do that in a way that's consistent with the master plan, as it were. So that's really the next step once it's approved. So. Well, in terms of that approval process, I understand there's a consultative period with the stakeholders and whatnot. Can you just step us through how that will work? Yeah, certainly. They've allocated a 20-week period to do consultation, and justifiably so. There's a lot of work to be done to get your head around the plan itself and what implications it has for the various stakeholders. Once those responses are received, the authority will collate them, summarise them, reissue the plan, and then if it's approved by the Minister, it'll be tabled to both Houses of Parliament at the Commonwealth level. Right. And then it'll be approved. Okay, so taking 20 weeks and all that, we're probably looking at around midway through next year and then moving towards the latter half of 2012. I would say so. Yeah. We'll certainly keep a very close eye on how that process works out, and I'd like to thank you for your time today, Andrew. Thank you. Thanks for having me. And viewers, thank you for tuning in today. We look forward to having your company for next Wednesday for the BRR Legal Brief. Thanks for tuning in.